Hello, how y'all doing today? For the past few weeks, I've been doing content, document my journey to becoming a software development and test, or SDET for short. So let me give you the purpose of why I'm doing these videos. First of all, I wanted to track my journey, learning certain skills to enhance myself, my brand. I've been learning through this whole job search that it's not just resumes and LinkedIn. You kind of have to put stuff out there to let people know who you are, your work ethic, how you approach different things. I've been learning that over the last few months. I left my job in September of last year, and I've been looking for other positions and wanting to get into other markets such as healthcare or the financial sectors of software QA or just IT period. It has been hard. It's been difficult. So sometimes you got to get out of your comfort zone to, find out things about yourself. I'm learning that I have to be a little bit more outspoken, a little bit more personable. So I'm doing these videos. That's why I ask for feedback. That's why I ask for, comments. So I was looking at a video, and shout out to Anton Daniels, and he was talking about the purpose of him doing social media was to kind of put himself out there, to scale up in his profession in the corporate world. So I'm working on those things, working on all aspects of my game, working on the skills, working on the communication, working on the skill work such as learning programming language, learning different technologies and different applications. So I'm putting this out here, and I'm also telling people who's jumping in the job market, take the time, look at the job you're currently in, and look at the current job description. What are they asking for you? So you can brush up on those skills, maybe get certifications or do boot camps to get yourself prepared if you have to jump back out into the job market. So right now I'm finna jump back into the Test Lead Bootcamp, which is a good boot camp for QAs and up and coming QAs and SDETs. It's reasonable price. So I suggest this boot camp. So we're going to go into what is called Python Module 10. And, after this video, remember, like, comment, subscribe, give me some feedback. And also, if you have any people out there that's looking for QAs or developers working on projects that need QAs, hit me up on LinkedIn and also my X as well. Thank you.
Module 10, Error and File Handling. This module has 3 lessons: error handling, file writing, and file reading. Lesson 1, Error handling. This lesson has 4 topics: an introduction, the purpose, the syntax, and examples. Introduction. Error handling in Python allows you to gracefully handle exceptions or errors that may occur during the execution of your program. It helps prevent your program from crashing and provides a way to recover from unexpected situations. Purpose. Preventing program crashes. Without error handling, encountering an error can cause your program to terminate abruptly. Providing user-friendly feedback. Error messages can be displayed to users. helping them understand what went wrong. Logging and debugging. Error handling allows you to log errors or perform specific actions when certain conditions are met. Syntax. Python provides a try-except block to handle exceptions. The try block contains the code that might raise an exception. The except block specifies the type of exception to catch and how to handle it. Try, code that may raise an exception. Except, some exception as E. Code to handle the exception. In your code, this is how it will look. Now, here are some examples. Try. Result equals 10 divided by 0. Except 0 division error as E. Print error then E. The output would be error division by 0. In this example, the try block contains the division operation, which will raise a 0 division error. The except block catches the specific exception, and it prints an error message. In your code, this is how it will look. Handling multiple exceptions. You can handle multiple types of exceptions by providing multiple except blocks. Try, result equals 10 divided by 0, except 0 division error as E, except exception as E. For your code, this is how it will look, and the last part will catch any exceptions that was not caught by 0 division error. Lesson 2, File Writing. This lesson has 2 topics, an introduction and then the syntax. Introduction. File writing in Python allows you to create, open, and write data to files on your computer. This is useful for tasks like saving program output, logging information, or storing data for later use. Syntax. To write to a file in Python, you need to follow these steps. Open the file. You use the open function to open a file. This function returns a file object. Write data to the file. You will use the .write method on the file object to write data. Close the file. After writing, you should close the file using .close method. Example of writing to a file. Step 1. Open the file. File equals open, then your file name, example.txt, W. W indicates that we want to write to the file. Step 2. Write data to the file. File.write, this is the first line. File.write, this is the second line. File.write, this is the third line. This will create 3 new lines in your file. Step 3. Close the file. File.close. In this example, we create a file named example.txt and wrote 3 lines of text to it. Lesson 3, File Reading. This lesson has 2 topics, an introduction and then the syntax. Introduction. File reading in Python allows you to open and access the contents of a file. This is useful for tasks like reading data from text files, configuration files, or even processing large data sets. Here's an introduction to file reading. Syntax. To read a file in Python, you need to follow these steps. Open the file. Use the open function to open a file. This function returns a file object. Read or process the contents. Once the file is open, you can use various methods to read or process its contents. Close the file. It's important to close the file after you're done working with it to free up your system resources. Here's an example. Reading a text file. Let's assume we have a text file named example.txt with the following content. Hello, this is an example file. It contains some text for demonstration. Step 1. Open the file. File equals open and then the name of your file, example.txt, and then R. R stands for read mode. Step 2. Read the contents. Contents equals file.read. Print contents. Step 3. Close the file. File.close. Your code should look like this. Now let's talk about reading a file line by line. You can also read a file line by line using a loop. File equals open example text R. For line end file, print line.strip. Strip removes any extra spaces or new line characters. And then file.close. Your code will look like this. Handling errors. It's important to handle potential errors, especially if the file you're trying to read might not exist. Try with open non-existent file.txt R as file. Contents equals file.read, print contents. Here's our exception. To catch the error, except file not found error, print file not found. This will prevent your program from crashing if the file is not found. And the code should look like this. Error handling in Python allows you to gracefully handle exceptions or errors that may occur during the execution of your program. In short, it helps prevent the program from crashing and provides a way to recover from unexpected situations. In Python, we have a try except block to handle exceptions. The try block contains the code that might raise a problem or an exception, and the except block specifies the type of exception to catch and how to handle it. So simply we have try results equals 10 divided by 0. Actually, before we even do that, let's just do 10 divided by 0 and see what happens. We get an error for 0 division, so that caused our program to crash. Now let's put it in a try except block. So you have try result equals 10 divided by 0 except 0. Division error as E. So in case this happens, we'll just print our error E. So before we tried to divide by 0 and got 0 division error. Now with our try except block, it'll try this, get the error, but instead of causing a program to crash, it'll get caught here in our exception, 0 division error. And it will instead print this and then keep running our program. And as we can see, I printed this. We got an error, but it didn't cause our program to crash. So if we had more code here, print program is still running. We can do that because we caught our exception here and stopped our program from crashing. So this right here catches a specific problem, 0 division error. If we want to catch just all exceptions, just write simply exception and it has the same result. Now let's talk about file writing. Let's clear this and this. File writing. File writing in Python allows you to create, open, and write data to files on your computer. This is useful for tasks like saving program output, logging information, or storing data for later use. So to write to a file, we open the file, write data to it, and then close the file. So let's say file equals open. Let's give it a file name, text.txt, comma W. And here, W indicates we're gonna write to this file. We're gonna open it. With write permissions. Now let's write to this file. File.write. This is our first line. And let's add one more. This is our last line. And finally, file.close. Let's run this. And it created our file. And as we can see, it'll be in a directory wherever you have your automation stored at. You open your file. And as you can see, this is our first line, this is our last line. As you can see, it's kind of all in one line. To separate it to separate lines, we will do the new line character after. So /n indicates a new line. Let's run this again and reopen this. And as we can see now, they're on separate lines because we added /. N, which indicates go to a new line. So now let's talk about reading from files. File reading in Python allows you to open and access the contents of a file. This is useful for tasks like reading data from text files, configuration files, or even processing large data sets. So to read from a file, you open the file, read or process the contents, and then close the file. So since we have this file here already, let's use that again, test.txt. But instead, we use an R to show we're reading from that file. Now we have the contents of the file equals file.read. And we're going to print the contents. And finally, close our file. And this is what we assigned to our file before. This is our first line, this is our last line. So it opened the file previously created in read mode. We then assigned it to read all the contents and stored the values in this value here, contents. Now let's print what we stored and we get our 2 lines. Just in case a file can't be found or we have problems, we should surround it and I'll try except block. Because let's say it's searching for file test222. And if it can't find it, it crashes the program. So instead of crashing the program, let's surround it and I'll try except block. So try this. Except file not found. I'm gonna print the file was not found, and then print our program didn't crash. And run this. And as you can see, the file is not found and our program didn't crash. Let's say we use the file that we created previously. We get this is our first line, this is our second line, this is our last line, and our program didn't crash. So try catch just stops your program for if possibly it's gonna crash or break. It catches the problem, handles it appropriately, and then continues your program. Didn't crash.